Welcome to The Explainer. You know, it's fascinating how a single day can tell a story. Today, we're looking at Canada on August 16th, 2025, and we're going to see how a nation can be completely stalled in some ways and at the same time, really hurtling forward.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a number. 130,000. What on earth could that be?
Yeah, that's it. It's the sheer scale of the disruption that hit Canada today. We're talking about the daily human cost of a massive labor dispute that has, well, effectively clipped the wings of the nation's biggest airline.
So what is going on here? How does an entire airline, a symbol of national connection, just grind to a complete halt?
Well, early this morning, the answer became crystal clear. Over 10,000 flight attendants, all represented by the Canadian Union of Public Employees, walked right off the job. Picket lines popped up at major airports from Vancouver to Montreal. And this is a big deal. It's the first flight attendant strike for the airline since all the way back in 1985.
The impact? Oh, it's like a massive domino effect. We're looking at nearly 700 flights canceled every single day. That basically grounds the entire domestic and international network. It's a logistical nightmare, right? And it means an estimated 25,000 Canadians are now stranded all over the world just trying to figure out how to get home.
But something this big doesn't just happen out of the blue. So let's look at the sticking points, because this breakdown has actually been brewing for weeks.
So at the heart of all this is a classic collective bargaining breakdown. You've got weeks of these really intense talks between Air Canada and the union, and they've just hit a wall, an impasse. And that's what forced this really drastic action.
And right here, you can really see the massive gap between the two sides. I mean, on one hand, Air Canada put a pretty significant offer on the table, a 38% pay increase over 4 years. But for CUPE, the union, the issue goes way deeper. They're arguing it just fails to address these core problems, like getting paid for ground work, all those hours flight attendants spend working before the plane even takes off, and they say it just doesn't keep up with inflation.
Now, the pressure is really mounting from the top. The Labor Minister, Patty Hajdu, she's personally involved trying to get everyone back to the table. The government is even floating this idea of binding arbitration. That's where a neutral third party would come in and impose a final decision. But so far, the union isn't having it.
So, with so much of the country's travel literally grounded, it's really easy to think that everything has just stopped. But that's just not the full picture. Let's pivot to a story where the theme is pure, unadulterated momentum. And we're going to shift from the friction of a labor dispute to the absolute thrill of international competition. While the airports are filled with frustration, you can bet the stadiums are filling up with anticipation.
In the pool lineup that was just announced today for the Women's Rugby World Cup, Canada isn't just showing up to play. They're seen as a dominant force. I mean, they're coming in hot after some strong recent performances. And there's this powerful sense of national pride and real optimism behind this team.
Their journey to the finals starts right here, in what's known as Pool B. They're going to have to get past Scotland, Wales, and Fiji. For sports fans, these matches are way more than just a highlight of the summer. They're a chance to see a powerful display of Canadian skill and ambition on the world stage.
Okay, now let's look at a completely different kind of movement. This one is, well, it's quieter than a picket line or a rugby match, for sure, but it's just as powerful in shaping the country's future.
This timeline here shows a series of these small but really significant political tremors. You've got a key resignation back in June, a historic provincial win just a few days ago, and a crucial federal vote coming up in just 2 days. Each one of these events is a little piece of a much larger puzzle.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. Up in Alberta, the upcoming by-election in Battle River Crowfoot is a big deal because the Conservative leader, Pierre, is expected to run for that seat himself. At the same time, over in Quebec, the Parti Québécois just won a victory in Arthabaska for the first time since 1998. So you've got a federal power play on one hand and a sign of shifting provincial tides on the other. So what does this all mean when you put these three very different stories together on one single day? You've got a grounded airline, a hopeful sports team, and a political map that's quietly shifting under our feet. On this one day, August 16th, we really see a country of contrasts. You have disruption, with these deep economic and social frictions playing out right on the tarmac. You have ambition, with national hopes just soaring on the rugby pitch. And then there's evolution, as that slow, steady process of democracy reshapes the political landscape, one ride at a time.
And it really leaves us with this fascinating question, doesn't it? Is a nation defined more by its moments of conflict and gridlock, or by its shared moments of pride and its quiet, deliberate march of progress? What truly moves it forward? That is definitely something to think about.